What's going on, guys? So this will be my second reaction video. In the last video, I said that I wanted to familiarize myself with the F1 teams after we went through the history of Formula One 1 through 1000. That's videos on my channel if you guys wanted to watch it. But now we're going to go through and we're going to learn a little bit about the teams on how they've changed or who stayed the same. So let's get into it. Let's start the video here. The link for this video will be in the description.
What Mercedes used to be known as back in 1954, or how at one point, technically, Renault competed against itself? Well, wonder no more as we dive into the unusual history of F1 teams. Let's get the easy ones out the way first. Historic teams such as Ferrari, Williams and McLaren have always been the same team. Simple. Same goes for Haas, who entered Formula One recently.
Okay, so that goes for that. So there's, I think there was 10 teams. I'm not 100% sure. So that that rules out. We got Ferrari has always been Ferrari. Williams has always been Williams, and McLaren has always been McLaren. It looks like Ferrari. Is there a date?
It's been the same.
Yeah, 1950. So that is 16 years prior to McLaren, which is the other one of the other oldest team that's always been McLaren.
Team. Simple. Same goes for Haas, who entered Formula One recently. But this is where it gets a little tricky. Let's start.
I know that Haas is an American team, and I think it's the only American team. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know any of the other teams.
Red Bull Racing, for example.
Okay,
From
Aston Martin.
1997 to 1999, they were known as Stewarts, and from the 2000 season, they were the lean, mean green machines. Anyone guessed it yet? It is, of course, Jaguar. They didn't do too well, though, apart from a couple of podiums, and at the end of 2004, they were sold to the energy drinks company that we all know and love, Red Bull.
Okay, so that's interesting. So now we know what Red Bull is, and that's back in 2005. In 1997, it began as Stewart. I wonder if that's... I know Stewart Haas is a team in the United States. I think it might be in NASCAR. And then you got Jaguar is a car brand company. And then it's into Red Bull, an energy drink company, who's by the way is involved in a lot of different sports. You have they're big time, and they were like big time in the X Games. I know in almost every single style of racing, there's like some kind of Red Bull sponsored car.
Now that all seems pretty straightforward, right? We've only just begun, let me tell you. At the end of 2005, Red Bull weren't happy with just the one F1 team, so they bought F1's lovable backmarkers Minardi and transformed them into what we know as Toro Rosso. Did you know Toro Rosso means Red Bull in Italian? My mind is actually blown. Paul stood up.
I did not know that either. Toro Rosso. I don't know what Toro Rosso is. I thought there was like an AlphaTauri. I don't know. Hopefully somewhere along the line it'll flush that out. But it's also, I find it odd that Red Bull wanted to buy another team, and then they named it basically the same thing. They named it Red Bull, except they did it in Italian. All right.
Sold Minardi on the one condition that the team continued its operations in the quiet Italian town of Faenza. So when Sebastian Vettel won at Monza in 2008, you can understand how incredibly special that was for the team. Right, I hope you're strapped in and ready for your brain to be frazzled, because we're getting on to Renault now, who has one of the most confusing histories of all. It all began in 1981 as Toleman, who gave Ayrton Senna his F1 debut. They only lasted 4 years though, as in 1985 a clothing company came along and bought them, Benetton. Benetton were of course the team with which Michael Schumacher won 2 world championships, but by 2001 the team were backmarkers. 2002 is when Renault acquired the team and delivered another 2 championships with Fernando Alonso in 2005 and 2006. Now you're probably wondering when the confusing part is going to kick in. Yeah, it's now. At the end of 2010, Renault became Lotus Renault GP, but the constructor was still officially Renault in 2011. When Renault became the Lotus F1 team in 2012, the constructor name changed to Lotus. However, whilst this was all going on, a new team had entered F1 and called itself Team Lotus. Team Lotus was actually a new team from Malaysia, but owned the rights to run the Lotus name. So in 2011 we had Lotus and Lotus on the grid, but neither of them being the Lotus team from the 1960s. Are you still with me?
I'm trying to stay with you. Well, we'll let it finish. We'll let it get to the end here.
So the Lotus that used to be Renault was called Lotus until the end of 2015, where Renault repurchased the team and it all became simple again. But there is a little bit more. Renault's history traces back to the Tollman in the 1980s, a period when the Renault factory team first raced in F1, which means technically, the Renault team of today actually competed against itself. If my brain was a steak, it'd be somewhere around the medium to well done range at this point. So let's move on to a couple of easier ones for the sake of my actually compete.
Let's go back here a little bit farther. All right, so it started out as Tollman, then a clothing brand bought it, and it became Benetton, and then Renault bought it. Let's go back a little bit, and prior to Tollman, Renault already had a team. And so basically this team, which wasn't Renault until 2002, Tollman and Benetton competed against Renault, who would later buy this team and now only own this team as far as I know at this point. And then they became Lotus, but there was another team from Malaysia that had the rights to use the name Lotus, and there was two Lotuses on the grid at the same time. I think I got that right. All right, let's go back. All right.
Today actually competed against itself. If my brain was a steak, it'd be somewhere around the medium to well done range at this point. So let's move on to a couple of easier ones for the sake of my own health.
Also, look, I'm not super big into cars or anything, but I think Lotus is a car brand, and as far as I know, it is an extremely high-end car brand. So Renault, I believe, is also a car brand. So they were run by Renault and Lotus together.
History is
mind blown.
Simple. They entered in 1993 and ran as Sauber until 2005. BMW Sauber was born in 2006 when BMW purchased a majority share but achieved only one victory with Robert Kubica in 2008. BMW withdrew from Formula 1 at the end of 2009 and Sauber has continued in F1 to this day. Force India is up next and its roots can be...
So Sauber, I don't even know if I've heard of that team. This might be an older video. Maybe Sauber became something else, but I don't know of any Sauber in F1, and I'm guessing that right now they are running underneath of a different name. I don't know.
Traced right back to 1991, and as Eddie Jordan likes to remind everyone as much as possible, the team was originally Jordan. They had great success with giving Michael Schumacher his debut in 1991, Damon Hill winning at Spa in 1998, and Heinz-Harald Frentzen almost winning the title in 1999. In 2005, however, Jordan was sold and became Midland F1 Racing. But that didn't last long, as in 2007, the Dutch car company Spyker took over, which only lasted a year too. And in 2008, Vijay Mallya took over and they became Force India. However, as you will know if you've been into F1 recently, Force India went into administration, which then created Racing Point Force India as of the 2018 Belgian Grand Prix. Finally, we have Mercedes.
So let's see how old this video is real quick here. This is 2019. So Racing Point India. These are teams that have probably have changed already after this. So we have Jordan, a guy named Jordan, and then if they were bought out in 2006, and then that didn't last long, so somebody else bought it out, named Spyker. I guess that's a brand. And then Force India bought it out, and then Racing Point Force India. And then they showed at the beginning this other car, that pink car. I don't know what the team name is. I apologize, but I have seen those cars in the F1 races, and I'm gonna assume that is this team.
2018 Belgian Grand Prix. Finally, we have Mercedes. The legendary manufacturer joined Formula One in 1954 and dominated the sport for 2 years with Juan Manuel Fangio. The team we know now, however, started life as a Tyrrell. Jackie Stewart had fantastic success with Tyrrell, securing 2 of his 3 world championships with them. Technically, his first championship in 1969 was with Mattress because Tyrrell didn't run their own cars until 1971. Tyrrell had little success in its final years and became BAR in 1999. Honda, who had supplied works engines for the team since 2000, ended up taking over the team in 2006 to become a full F1 manufacturer team. Shockingly, Honda left the sport in December 2008, which opened the door for one of the greatest sporting stories ever. Brawn GP was formed just weeks before the start of the 2009 F1 season, when Ross Brawn purchased the team for just £1. It proved to be one of F1's great success stories, as the team took a 1-2 in its first ever race and went on to win both championships. It would only be a one-hit wonder, however, as Mercedes-Benz took over in November 2009 and became the Mercedes GP we know of today.
So somebody bought it out for £1. I'm guessing that they were running at a loss at the time. I want to know how much Mercedes bought that for, because within 1 year, he sold it. I mean, even if he sold it for £2, he made double his money. So it started out as Tyrrell, and then BAR, which I don't know what that is. And then Honda bought it out. I know that Honda currently builds the engines for the Red Bull team. And then one guy bought the team from Honda for £1. And then Mercedes bought the team out. And then from then on, it's been Mercedes. And I know that they are the most successful team, at least within the last decade and a half or so.
Phew! The history of F1 teams is a complex one. So much so, I'm off for a cold shower and a lie down. What F1 team's history intrigues you the most? Let us know in the comments section below.
Alright, so that's the end of the video. I will leave the link to this video. Please go down and give them a like. And if you like their material, go ahead and give them a subscribe. Please leave me a like and a subscribe. I'm going to bring you more F1 stuff. As I learn about the sport, you can learn about the sport, or you can just watch me and tell me if you want me to watch any other specific videos and react to them, so I can learn more. But I really do appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much. Please enjoy the rest of your day.